Welcome, friends. It's your boy, old Bearby here. The Twisted in the Twilight DLC for Total War Warhammer 2 has arrived. And we thought, what better way to test the strength of some of those new units than to pit them against an army of bears? It's the, okay, but how is it against an army of bears test?
I want to stress that no actual bears were harmed in the making of this video.
That's right, Tommy Bear. And neither were any actual fantasy creatures or fantasy people harmed. Using the Kislev Reborn mod for Total War Warhammer 2, an awesome mod by the way, I was able to field an entire army, well, 2 armies, in order to keep things equal, of bear units. And even though human lords were used out of necessity, those lords were riding bear mounts. So let's see how Throth the Unclean and the Sisters of Twilight and their Skaven and Wood Elf armies fare against an army of bears. Bringing a bunch of bears, alright. Now, before we begin the battle, before we begin the replay, I just want to take a look at some of the enemy units we'll be facing, which are from the DLC. Many of them, anyway. Now, I did randomize these, but I did make sure that they were the sub-factions for the DLC, and that Throth the Unclean and the Sisters of Twilight are present. That was important. So it's going to be factions from the DLC. We got some Warpfire Throwers. We had that Packmaster back there. Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. All right, we got some Clan Rat Spears with shields. Deepwood Scouts. Warp Lightning Cannons. More Deepwood Scouts. Some Hawkeyes. Plague Claw Catapults. And there he is, our boy Throth the Unclean. He literally hasn't taken a shower in months, perhaps years, perhaps forever. And he has 3 arms. I guess that's what happens when you don't take a shower.
I don't think that's how he got 3 arms, Bearby.
Well, probably didn't help any, alright? There are the Sisters of Twilight. The Lord for the DLC, for the Wood Elves for this DLC. There's a Forest Dragon. I like Forest Dragons. We got some Black Hole Flayers. Now let's take a closer look at that. At the Sisters of Twilight. Okay, I think we're ready to begin the battle replay. Look at all these bears. Tons and tons of bears. From the surrounding forests. And we do have, in addition to the 2 Lord units, we do have a Priest of Ursun, who is basically like someone who's trying to be a bear. He's dressed up in a bear costume and everything. And everyone who is a human, which is 3 total people, they are riding bear mounts. So they're sort of like bear units too. Alright. I think it's about time to begin. Let's go! Come on, you bears! Look out for those green things. Those green projectiles. Okay, the bears are taking on some archery, but it looks like they're faring pretty well against those archery bolts. Let's see what's going on up here. Oh, the enemy is drawing back their archers. And exposing their catapults? Why do they have their catapults up front like that? That's crazy. Their artillery, whatever it is, they've got that up front. Okay, we got some bears. The bears are making contact with the enemy front lines. Wow, that was a pretty brutal charge. You got some reindeer and some bears facing off over here. There's a pack master. The bears are powering up. Forest Dragon is in some trouble with these bears.
It could be the other way around, Bearby.
Yeah, at this point, maybe so. Maybe so. Black hole flares. Getting attacked by some bears. And the Sisters of Twilight, they are putting on an archery clinic atop that dragon. Firing some flaming bolts. Bears engaged with Skaven everywhere. Let's see what's going on over here. Throth the Unclean is in trouble. He's pinned in by some bears. Trying to get away. Bears taking on more archery bolts. Weathering the storm. Throth the Unclean is really... He's really not liking those bears right now. The Skaven said, "I smell failure." I think that was a Skaven. I don't think it was a bear anyway. The bears have surrounded some Skaven and the Sisters of Twilight, giving them some trouble. Meanwhile, the other dragon is trying to escape. It looks like he's trying to escape, but he's not quite shaken yet. Oh, but it is your fault, Skaven. It is. Some brutal engagements between the Skaven and the bears. Drive them back!
Whoa, look at that balance of power.
Yeah. Very surprising, right? Or is it surprising? Got some war dancers over here. Trying to hold out. Packmaster backing them up. But it doesn't look too good for that side of the army. of the battle. Balance of power is still going up into the Bears' favor, even further. Sisters of Twilight on the run, on the move. Bears hounding. Can they do it? Is it possible? And look at that devastation. Whoa. This was, the enemy has cost you dearly. It was close. But in the end, the Bears were victorious. So, the Twisted and the Twilight units did not prevail against the Bears. What an experiment. Looks like the Bears were too much for old Throt and the Sisters of Twilight. Never mind that we didn't have any ranged infantry or other units to round out the army. It was just bears that brought down Throt and sent the Twilight Sisters' big scary dragon scurrying away. Just bears. Now what does that say about the units in the new DLC? We'll leave that open to interpretation.
For real though, those bears were OP.
Perhaps, Tommy Bear, perhaps. Friends, it's been fun and interesting. For now, it's time for us to say goodbye. But we hope to be seeing you in the future.
In the future, we hope to see you.